Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. Sorry, I forgot to ask somebody to bring the TV over for me, so I pull it over myself. I forgot about that. You'll find out what that's for here in a minute. Is it starting to pop up yet?
Well, it's welcome.
It's working. It's working. All right. Stan, would you lead us in prayer and pledge?
Sure. Please join me. Dear Lord, we ask your blessings to continue through this new year. We ask your continued guidance and leadership and help and be with those that are fighting illness or death in their family. We ask that you also be with first responders and protect them in this coming year. And we thank you for all the many blessings you've given. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Play ball. All right, Dave, I'm going to let you go first.
Good, let's get me out of the way. Yeah, I'm going to be quick because he's got a lot to talk about. Can everybody hear me? It sounded like I had an echo there. I'm just going to go real quick, some of the things that are coming up. In the auditorium on January 15th at 1:30, it's on the calendar, music by Jimmy Leach. I was told he's been here before, but I don't know, but I think he's been here before. Next, I got the Dixieland Band. I know they've been here. They'll be here January 22nd, 6 p.m. in the auditorium. Then on the 23rd of January, we have our National Pie Day where we sell the pies in the York Rite Lobby. There's a sign-up sheet out there. Anybody wants to bake a pie, donate a pie, whatever, please sign up so we can keep account. But that'll be at 2 o'clock on the 23rd. Next month, we are going to have our Valentine's dinner at the clubhouse. We don't have all the details worked out yet. My events meeting is not till next week, so we'll get that information out to you. But right now, it's tentative to be on February 13th, okay, day before Valentine's. After that, did you guys hear the bells? Yeah. Okay, the bells are working. AARP, United Senior Services Tax Service, I got an email from them this morning. They will be back again this year. I don't have a date. When I get a date, Bill, you're barking. When I get a date, I'll have a sign-up sheet out there, and you can schedule a time when I get the sign-up sheet out there. So I don't have the date yet, but when I get that out, I'll have it on K4 1851. You'll see it. Also, the corporate office is doing, their marketing department's doing it's called a Pet Super Bowl. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's called Pet Super Bowl, and it's going to be on Facebook. So I've already sent a couple photos of a couple dogs from our campus. I need a couple photos of cats.
Oh, I can help you.
Send me a photo of your cat. You know, put a Buckeye jacket on it or something, and send it to me. I need it today. So it's been a busy week. So, but I need two photographs of cats. If you guys can help me, I'd appreciate that. Other than that, I'm done.
That was it?
I told you. I went through it quick.
Jeez, man, thought I'd have more time than that.
Nope, you're good.
Okay, so I've got a few updates. I got to scoot up so I can see because this TV's difficult to look at from the side. Last Coffee Connection, I know we had lots of questions and things about, how are projects moving along and, so on and so forth. And I constantly come up and tell you guys that projects are moving along, but it's a process, right? Because if you get something wrong in a process that's, somewhere around $60 million, and now all of a sudden it becomes $65 million because a $10 part didn't get added, it takes a lot of time. So one of the things that that has happened since last time is last Friday I signed the contract for, where is it? The Scottish Rite elevator. So it is now fully in motion. We should have permits in hand this week. I haven't gotten an email that said they came through, but welcome to Springfield. So this is a rendering of the elevator tower. I know it looks like a big stack of bricks, but what did you think an elevator tower looked like from the outside? It's a big stack of bricks.
Glass so you can see the outside.
So you can see the balconies that are on this side. So right here is where the exit currently is. So that door is going to get cut out and the elevator shaft's getting built in that nook. What you can only barely see, and I apologize, I don't, maybe I have to zoom down.
You scroll down on the right.
There we go.
There we go.
Well, I'll zoom in a little bit more. Oh, too many. Okay. So I was off the floor, I didn't realize I was down. This is where you come out right now. So over here, we have to build a vestibule so there's an airlock when you come into Scottish Rite. So in the hallway, if you're walking down the hallway, right now you see, I think, a window. That's where the exit will be on the lower level. So I know we made the announcement to Scottish Rite Council, which I'm very happy to announce is back up and running, that this is coming. So I'm sure most of you have heard. But again, I gave them a little warning. Be careful what you wish for. This is about 8 to 9 months of a lot of noise, dust, and so on and so forth. The other part of that is this. So we are going to be putting in 16 covered parking spots on the back. Well, it'll be the west side of Scottish Rite. So that where the elevator's going, right behind that parking lot, is going to be demolished. And it's going to be redesigned, and there's going to be two things that are going to really change. A, covered parking. That's going to change because we don't currently have it. But also, right now when you pull in, you can park along the sidewalk. That's all going away. What we're putting in is a drive where it's kind of like a drive-up drop-off. So now if you're moving in or whatnot, you can drive up, park, unload, go into the exit, and the elevator's right there to the right. What I do not have a rendering of is the other parking that's coming with this. So where these go in is pretty much taking up that whole parking lot. And then we're going to extend parking kind of up that drive. But in the front, or the north parking lot where the circle is, we're adding 28 spaces in that parking lot. So the grass island in the middle is going to be consumed by, kind of double loaded parking. And then also we're extending the parking further up the road and extending it around the outside of that bend. So we're adding, I believe the final number was 28 parking spots in that north parking lot. Then there's 18 covered parking, and which, I don't know if you can really see this. This is an internal stairwell, because if you walk out the back of Scottish Rite, you'll notice it's a hill down to the road. So this is actually two-tiered, hence the fencing. So this, if you're up at the, and this is at the ground level, so this is at the level of Scottish Rite, this is the upper deck parking, and the cars on the other side are actually down below, because we have to build it into the hill. So when you're driving up the road, you'll be able to turn into the parking lot, but then you have to kind of walk over here and walk up those stairs or ramp. I don't know what it is, because you can't see it, but it's either stairs or it's a ramp that's in the middle there. So that way you can come right up and then walk, and it pretty much lines up with the entrance. So those are very big projects. I believe the estimated time was 8 to 9 months, I think is what I heard Marker Construction. So what Marker is doing now is they're putting together the timeline. So that timeline includes coming out and doing demolition, and then kind of getting the work site set up, and then they have to plan work. So go back to this one. To build an elevator tower on all these bricks, you have to have what's called a laydown area. The laydown area is where you literally hold material. And you want it close because it's not efficient to keep moving material all over the place. So during this process, that west side parking lot will be totally unusable. They need that for laydown, they need that for equipment, and honestly, you have to have a certain amount of radius around anything that high that you're working on. So that parking lot will be completely consumed. What I do not know at this point until I get that timeline is when the north parking lot will become unusable. Because, and this is, you know, kind of what I shared the other day, when you're doing like work, you want to do it at the same time. So if I need a bulldozer to work here and I need a bulldozer to work here, I only want to bring that bulldozer one time, because every time you mobilize, it's an expense. So they're going to want to coordinate things. So it is going to be disruptive. So internally we are going, already working on making sure employees park in that lot that's kind of west, the furthest west lot, to open up all that parking there. We'll probably put up signs for Scottish Rite parking, but the largest portion and only portion of parking for a significant amount of time will be on the other side of the festival green. So just know, we know that that's how it's going to have to be, because we're going to have both lots under construction at some point. So again, I'm very excited to get these things, but we're going to have to bear through some obstacles along the way.
Looking at this, are there any public windows at the end of the halls to look over the parking lot?
Currently, I believe there's a window at the end of the hall on every floor, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So yes.
But there will be again after the elevator?
Yes, the only window that's well, there are windows right here where the elevator is going to be cut
That's what I wondered.
in, but on over where this is, those are they windows or are they blocked in? Now I'm confused.
There's windows there.
And windows.
There are windows there, right?
Windows there. It won't be as nice as it was before to sit in the couch and stuff. The windows are.
Yeah, because that little seating area
It's
is,
not gonna be big.
you know how when you walk down, there's that little seating area? That's now basically the elevator lobby.
Right.
But when you're walking straight down, I'm pretty sure there's a window there.
There's windows.
Because there is a section of blocked-in windows, but I think those are inside the stairwell, correct? Yeah, they're the ones that run up the stairwell. So that little seating area will be consumed because you have to have a lobby outside of the elevator for code.
Where do we park these?
Well, you're gonna have to get better at getting it in that door.
And although it doesn't yet affect me, when you were talking about the stairwell or whatever coming up from the outside in, would it not be wise to have also a ramp for the people that have the carts to bring?
Well, that's why I don't know if it may already be a ramp.
Okay, or
It-
both.
I can't, I know in the original drawing, they had like a ramp on one side and stairs on the other, but I said, who's gonna wanna walk? Just widen it 6 feet and put them in the middle. And so I
Yeah.
feel like it's a ramp, I just can't
That-
remember, I
that's
don't
what carts,
exactly
if
know.
They carry groceries.
Yeah, because it really depends on how much of it, so any ramp we build has to be ADA, right? So the American Disability Act standards.
Yeah.
So the ADA standards are real simple. For every 1 inch you go up, you have to go a minimum of 12 inches out.
Yep.
All right? So think of it this way. Your house at home normally has 2 to 3 steps, an average step 7 inches. So if it's 3 steps, that's 21 inches. That means your ramp needs to be 21 feet long. So if that is an 18-inch drop, then the ramp needs to be 18 feet, and there ain't 18 feet in that building. So I don't. That's why I said I'm hoping it's a ramp, but I don't know what that is from that side. So as I get more details, I'll let you know there. So that project is ready to go. We are literally just waiting on timing. Leon.
On the coveralls, is there going to be a fee to park underneath them?
There will be, you'll rent them, because there's not one per unit. So there'll be like kind of first come, first serve. So I have a lot of experience in that, because the facility I was at for 10 years, we had 14 parking garages, and people would rent them. And I'll be very honest, this is how it went at Lake Vista. In the summer, I could play football in those garages, and in the winter, you couldn't move. Nobody rented them in the summer, and everybody wanted them in the winter. That was how it kind of went. But yes, there will be a fee for them, and they're kind of first come, first serve. And I'm pretty sure it's 18. It's either 18 or 16.
During construction on this, since you're closing off the exit to the parking lot, is there going to be a designated way for people to get out of the building in case of an emergency?
But yeah, we have to have an egress, because on that lower level, that is the only egress is that door.
Kitchen door,
Say that again?
like that kitchen area to the
The,
south.
the lower level doesn't have that kitchen area.
Oh, it does?
No, so what you're thinking of is the first floor where Dave's office is. The floor below that is only about half as deep, because that's like on the bottom of that's where the elevator pit and mechanicals are, and then there's a hallway that takes you into the steam tunnel. That floor, I think, only has 6 apartments. And so there is no kitchenette on that level. So that level, the only egress is that west-facing door. So for emergencies, they'll have like an emergent, kind of path out there. But there's not an opportunity to cut like another door or anything in at this point. All right, so that's the big discussion there with Scottish Rite. Like I said, just be careful what you wish for. It is going to be loud, and it's going to be right next door. So whoever has these balconies right here, just make sure you have a hard hat when you go outside. Beware of falling bricks.
Community devices.
All right, so Dave and I have been very busy this week. The other thing we've been doing is we've been having some conversations with some villa residents because we are a few short months away from the large project kicking off. So the large project is an all-encompassing build of a new skilled nursing facility and new AL facilities. Our goal is to get out of a 101-year-old building called Wrigley that costs us so much money it's ridiculous, to get out of Pathways, which is an inefficient model to have a building completely detached from the rest of your world, and to get out of York Rite because, well, York Rite could use some updating, but the cost to update York Rite is substantial. So we are going to build a new skilled nursing facility and a new assisted living facility, and as we stand right now, we look to start that about June or July of this year as long as everything stays on track. And right now, everything is staying on track and moving along just fine. As part of that, this building will not, so how this will work is we've been telling you we're knocking Iredell down. I still want Iredell. We didn't get it down in 2024, not because we can't knock it down, but because of the parts we're keeping, someone's got to rebuild it, and we haven't gotten that price yet. This is Cunningham. This is the Cunningham connector. This is where Iredell stands now. So Iredell will come down, and so will the connector to Cunningham. The new building is 4 stories tall. It'll have memory care on the first floor. It'll have high acuity AL on the second floor. And then the 3rd and 4th floor will be traditional AL, much like Cunningham. Cunningham stays. This interior courtyard is an enclosed courtyard specific to the memory care unit so that they have a secured area for going outside. This whole this area here is basically dining, some activity space, common areas. What you can't really see from this drawing, but right about here is the existing Iredell dining room. So we are maintaining that. If you've been to the Iredell dining room or you've ever seen it, there's a part of the Iredell dining room that has a kitchen. That's going away. We are going to build a walkway that goes around it, and so there's an enclosed dining courtyard as well. You can also bypass the dining room. The existing dining room is going to grow slightly, and that's going to be the formal dining area. And actually, I do have that. I'm sorry. I'm talking on the floor plan, and I actually have that here. It's called first floor. There we go. So this is the existing Iredell dining room. This is where the kitchen is. So we're going to enclose this courtyard. Then this will become formal AL dining. This is now going to, we're closing down the kitchen at Burdick Tower, and this now becomes the campus kitchen. This is what we're calling the cafe. So the cafe is very similar to the sandwich shop, only it's going to be open. Now I'm going to say these times, but understand these are not set in stone. The goal is to be open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Who's been to like Dayton Children's Hospital? Anyone been to Dayton Children's? All right, so when you go to Dayton Children's, they have like a cafe area you go over to and you can go get food, and it's like casual seating. That's basically what this kind of area is. Only ours is not as casual as Dayton Children's, but that's the concept. That is an active, lively space for staff, families, and residents to come over, go over to the snack bar, get a sandwich, get a pizza, get whatever, get something to drink, and then you can kind of sit around here. There's a multi-purpose room over here that'll be used for activities. This is the big foyer, administrative offices, and then this whole side of the building over here is skilled nursing. So it's one contiguous building, but it's two different purposes.
Then will you be closing the sandwich shop in the other area?
No, no, we're not closing the sandwich shop.
Okay.
But we have to have something over here that serves the staff and whatnot.
How many stories?
Well, this part is 4.
Okay.
The skilled nursing part is 2, and Bill, that is a great lead in to the next part. So the skilled nursing part is 2 stories. So the upper part, the second floor, basically, of that, is actually ground level to Cunningham. That's rehab. But if you've been over there and you've been in, say, Joanne Primsville, and you looked out her backyard, what do you see? A big hill. We're building this building right into that hill. And when we build it into that hill, that means that now we have a lower level, which would be the same level as the villas. That will be the long-term care. Now, if you're really kind of looking, you can kind of see an outline right here. And that is villa number 10. So what you don't see is villas number 1 and 9. Because this project is going to sacrifice those 2 villas in the process. So we've already met with the residents and we've talked to them about the plan. So just to make sure everyone understands, if you've noticed, we've not been selling villas because we know we have residents that we need to move. So as villas come open, we're not renting them. Trust me, Brian is somewhat having a heart attack over that, but he understands. So we have places for them to move to. We already spoke with the residents. They all know that it's happening. We've talked about the plans, but just so you guys know, we've put a lot of time, effort, and thought into that and started already stockpiling villas because we know there are 8 residents in those units. And we want to make sure that they're taken care of. And obviously, anything that we do, we'll make sure that we incur any expense in that for them. So that is really the big picture, the big plan. That's what it looks like. So what does that do to the campus? Well, a couple things. A, it actually brings us a century further in our infrastructure, because if you do not know, Rickley Commons is 101. It turned 101 October 23rd. So it is over 101 years old. So now we are going to have modern facilities with things like modern heat, modern light, plugs. Boy, if you've been in Rickley, you'll know that there is 2 plugs for every room. We'll have modern electricity, right? You know what I'm talking about.
And a shared bathroom.
In a shared bathroom, and if you want to shower, you got to go down the hall.
Yeah.
So it's very different. Every unit will have an in-room bathroom, full shower, full everything. So let's talk a little bit about what are some of the changes. Okay, so we are keeping memory care, but there is a big change. Right now, memory care falls under the licensure of skilled nursing. We are actually moving memory care under the licensure of assisted living. Why? Because the other 2 campuses are that way. It's aligning our offerings with the rest of the company. We're making things more consistent through the campuses. Every campus has a place called Pathways. The difference is our Pathways is skilled nursing. When we move to this model, the memory care unit will now be licensed as assisted living. So there's some operational advantages to that help, and there's some licensure advantages to that, but just know that that's the biggest change. The other change is that unit will be 24 beds, and right now the current one is 30.
That's going to open up pod 3 and 4 in Pathways?
Well, but I ain't doing anything at Pathways. Pathways becomes a mothball until someone rents it. So on the second floor is what we currently utilize in York-Rite, which is the medical model AL, or a higher acuity. So the second floor of that building will be the higher acuity. So there's a dining room in memory care, there'll be a dining room in the higher acuity, And then on the 3rd and 4th floor, those are just all 1 bedroom. I think there's a few studios and some 2 bedrooms, traditional AL in there. So we are going to go from having 56 units in York Wright and 41 units in Iredell or Cunningham to having a total of 147 AL. So we're going to go from 97 to 147. Our AL offerings are going to go up. AL is consistently on a wait list. That is in high demand on our campus and is consistently on a wait list. So we feel there should be no problem, especially with a new building, especially with our reputation, to be able to keep that full and just have a wait list, just have more people on the campus. So that is a huge help. So for IL residents, what does that mean? Well, if you have friends who've had some issues and they needed to go to assisted living, you know that sometimes it's a bottleneck. Cunningham is full. York Wright waxes and wanes, right? We get full, we don't. That's the nature of York Wright. So it's going to have more availability, and it's going to be a lot nicer. The skilled nursing, currently we have 84 licensed beds. It's going to drop to 72, but we're not getting rid of the licenses. So on that long-term care side, and this is getting way technical, but we're going to build 12 rooms. We're going to build 12 rooms to be licensed as double occupancy. We just have no intention of putting 2 people in them. We're going to build them so they meet the requirements so we can keep the licenses, because if we get rid of them, we'll never get them back. So it's just planning for the future. So we got to add a couple plugs, add a light. Next thing you know, you can license it, and we're going to put 1 bed in it. Every room will be private. So the new design here for that connector is going to be 3 stories tall. So when you look at it, you'll see it's got a little room here. That's because a 3-story tall building 10 feet wide will get blown over. We had to add something to it to make it structurally sound, because 3 stories tall is a big, gigantic wind sail. And if you've ever been on this side of the campus when it's windy, you know it catches a lot of wind. So this connector will be 3 stories tall. 2 reasons. A, now you don't have to go downstairs to walk over, right? So if I live in Cunningham and I'm on the 3rd floor and it's time to go over to the dining room, I can walk over, walk across the bridge, get to the elevator and go down. Because we strategically put an elevator right here. Why did we strategically put an elevator there? Because if you've been to Cunningham, you know that the elevator that's in there is barely useful, right? It is so small that you can't really use it for anything more than a few people at a time. So we kicked around the idea of adding an elevator to Cunningham, but that price is about the same as what it is to put it on the back of Scottish Rite. So since we're already putting elevators in this building, if we just put them right there, now it allows easy access to go up and down. The other part, and you can't really see it here, but that connector that goes around has an entrance. So if you were moving in even to Cunningham, you could park right here, go right up to the elevator, and go straight over. So a lot of forethought went into it, a lot of, what about this, what about that? Did we think of everything? Of course not.
What about connection to the tunnel?
The connection to the tunnel is still right here.
Okay.
Yep. So this is what is in Cunningham on the 2nd floor is the dining/activity space, and the tunnel enters right there.
So skilled nursing would have to go all the way over there and down there to get to the tunnel to
Yes.
go there.
Yep. But in skilled nursing, the residents not a lot of them really will go around. And exactly. But if you live in Scottish Rite and you want to go visit somebody over there, yes, you would come down the tunnel, go through the connector and around. But it's still covered in condition.
Yeah.
So that is the long and short of the big project. Now what I also share, this is Route 4. This is the current drive. We have to maintain that because you have to have an egress. We also have to have the ability for fire trucks to get to basically all the sides of the building. We are going to put a gate right here because it is not going to be an exit. We are still not allowing people to exit out that side. It's not safer just because we built this building. What it is going to turn into, though, is all our deliveries are going to come in back here. So we're going to put a turn lane in off of Route 4 where they can turn in and semi-trucks will be able to back up to the loading dock. But that's all going to be service area. The gate down here will still have the one click, just like the front gate. So if emergency services need to come in, they just click it. So there'll be a gate off Route 4, and then there'll be a gate down at the end of that there to use.
How many elevators are gonna be in that 4-story building?
Four?
4?
Three. Otis. No Tyson Crow. There are 3. There was gonna be a 4th staff one, but we decided we didn't need it. So there's 3. There's 1 here and 2 here-ish. 2 over here.
And the one that's currently in.
And then you have the one that's in
Yeah,
Cunningham.
okay, so that's 4 total.
So, but that's it in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot of little things in between there, but it is a big project. It is a very big project. We are terribly excited about it. Again, it is going to be loud and it's going to be busy. So, what are some other components? Well, this would be the Iredell parking lot. This is also where the main gas line runs. I can't keep it there. So we have to move the main gas line for the campus. We also have to do some things with the water for the campus. Somehow, for some reason, we ran everything under Iredell. So we have some things we need to move. We have some things we need to tap off of and do. The gas line's the biggest one. We know we need to move the gas line. So the current plan has the gas line basically running through Villa number 9 right now. When we do the demo and we go to cut that gas line in, it's going to run down there, and then what you can't see here is this road comes up and then we'll connect not where the current drive is down, kind of more north or south, I mean, over. Another part of this is behind Villas number 2, in that we are putting in a retention pond. So there will actually be a pond that we will stock with fish and put a fountain in over there, and we're going to put in a walking path. So we're gaining some other amenities as part of this, because whenever you take away all that drainage, you have to have a place to detain water. So that's what we're doing. And if you've lived here long enough, you know at one point in time we put a pond over there and it didn't hold water. I don't know how that works. But so that's all the plan. We actually have some engineering, and they'll be clay lining it, and then we'll rock out the banks, stock it with fish, and then that'll be a whole nother feature that's kind of down. Well, you can see the swell from the old pond right there, kind of behind too.
Now, and I know this is really off the wall. What's the timeline for that?
Okay, so the timeline right now is that we break ground June or July. Construct,
For the building?
yeah. So the
Okay, but what happened to tearing down,
Iredell,
no, the maintenance are the.
oh, that's still happening.
And the other
So
thing-
we had and I don't have this picture, but I'll give you a vision. So you know where the old print shop is?
Yeah.
And you know the fenced-in area before you get to
Oh,
railroad
yeah.
tracks?
Yeah.
We had a design made to put a new transportation and maintenance shop in that area. And then it cost about $800,000 to put utilities to it before you build the building. So I was sitting there one day and Steve and I were talking, and I said, well, what are we picking up from it? We're picking up a heated workspace, some heated storage, and then some untempered parking. So basically we are going to take over the print shop. The heated section will be the print shop area, and then I don't know how to put it. We're going to tee off of that with the parking, and then they'll just be connected at the end of the building.
So you're not going to be building a big building?
It'll still be good sized, but it'll be kind of sideways on the end of the print shop.
Okay.
So the buses will pull around and turn into it.
Okay.
And then the print shop itself is going to become the maintenance, kind of storage, workshop, so on and so forth. If you lived here back in 2015, that's what it was when I started. The print shop was the maintenance garage. And then they wanted to move the print shop out of the basement of Bancroft, and they took the took the building over and converted it. So we're just kind of going back to how it was before. And then we're going to build off of it so we can get the transportation garage down. Because the transportation garage got to come down anyways, because it becomes a
It's gonna
road.
be a mess.
Is this concurrent with what's going on upstairs, or earlier or later?
It'll be concurrent at one point in time, because the elevator is estimated to be between 8 and 9 months.
Yeah, yeah.
So at one point in time, and the same company's doing all the work.
Very good.
So that kind of helps with some cost, because you can kind of share a foreman a little bit. You can share some of the mobilization a little bit.
Question.
Yep.
Those of us that farm the boxes behind the Ardale or, the end of Ardale, what's going to happen with them?
So we don't have, he asked about what's going to happen to the planter boxes. We know we have to move them. We don't have a spot completely picked out. That was something I know we were going to work with the residents to try to decide, but they do have to move because now the pump house isn't going anywhere, but you also won't be able to access them because that whole site will be closed
Fenced
off.
off.
Yep. So we know we have to move them. We know we have to move them, we just don't 100% know where. Because what you can't see here, the pump house is right there. There's a little dashed line. So the pump house and then the boxes that are over here. So this building actually kind of comes back a little further than Iredell too. It's significantly bigger than Iredell. So it kind of pushes back to the hill a little closer, pushes this way a little more, and I think it encroaches towards Cunningham like 4 feet, not a ton. But this currently, you can see Cunningham, this is where they bring out the garbage. This will be, one big parking, and then what you can't see on here, you can kind of see it, is we're adding a whole bunch of parking kind of at the end of the community center parking lot where the transportation garage is. So we're adding in a bunch more parking there, because what's happening is the largest mass of residents is now going to be right there. It's also the largest mass of staff, and they need a place to park too. So that's why we have to make sure we extend some more parking down. But you can kind of see here, this is the existing community center parking lot. You can see we added more parking down there, and then mostly that will be staff parking, because that kind of section up there will mostly be visitor and resident parking.
So that's why you're not painting these lines this year.
That's why we're not replacing any roads or anything this year.
Oh, I knew the roads.
Because we're going to run all over.
I knew my benches, but painting the lines is necessary.
Yes, we'll be driving all over.
What's the plan for the castle?
And no plan for the castle for me. That one's outside of my awareness. I don't own the castle, it just sits on my campus. I know the plan is they're still trying to raise money, because that is going to be a donated thing, because it is not operations. We don't operate out of the castle. So that's all going through donations through the foundation. But I don't know the end result of it. I know they have plans because they have an idea of how much they're looking to raise, but I do not know.
What about
I also know it's a few years down the road because that cost to renovate is high.
What about Bancroft?
Bancroft right now, I'd like to slate for demo with Iredell, but we got some work to do there. Bancroft's not a very usable building. There was a reason we got out of it when we got out of it in 2016. Because it's old. And it's got horrible plumbing like everywhere else on this campus. But yeah, those are the big plans.
They are big.
They are big.
If I understood correctly, sections 1 and 9,
Yes.
what happens to those of us between?
There is nobody between 1 and 9. 1 is the very first one on the left, and 9 is the one right on the right. So they're the two most eastern ones. Because 1 and 9, like when you're in 1, you see the side of 9. 1, you can kind of see 1 is right here, and 9 is right here, and 10 is right here. So you can you can see where 10 is, and then, yeah, 10's right here. Am I not seeing 9? Well, it's kind of hidden. But, well, no, that's number 2. No, here's number 1.
Scroll that little sidebar way down. That little right sidebar. Right.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. That-
Here, now I don't have to talk so much about what you see. All right, so here you go. Now you can kind of better see Cunningham, the road, how the road's going to change. Here's the pond that I was talking about. The pond's over here. So the road, this is villa number 10, this is villa number 2. Villa number 1 was right here, villa number 9 was right here. So the road will come out, around, and then right up the side. So here's Bancroft. So the road comes up and meets right here. This is the road that comes behind Scottish Rite. It's going to tee in, and then this is actually the entrance to Scottish Rite, where the entrance comes out. So you can kind of see the flow of traffic. So the castle sits right here. Community center is right here. So the road will go around, back to the villas. There's sidewalks on this side, and then again the pond kind of in that bottom left. Then you can see the expanse of the parking. Current, this dashed line is outlining the current community center parking lot. So you can see all the additional parking being put in there as well. Should have hit that earlier.
So the pond is gonna go where that building is.
No, the pond is
Between 2.
yeah, it's behind 2. Like villa number 2 is right here. It's basically directly behind 2.
So Jeff's going out to buy his new fly rod.
So yeah, lots of big projects coming up. We're really excited.
Yeah, sure.
It's
Thank you. Thank you.
it's long overdue.
It's a lot bigger than the project you had a few years ago down there by Iredell being expanded and healthcare down there.
Yeah, much bigger.
Is there a way that you can make some copies of that so folks can look at it?
The answer to that is yes. She asked if I could make copies. I actually, hopefully next week, will have actual renderings that I can give, because I have seen, I just don't have them, renderings of the actual building and kind of what it looks like. So hopefully I can get those. We have a design meeting here on Tuesday, so I'm hoping I can get something like that we can kind of put out a flyer that you guys can see. Because the building is very, it's big. And it's got multiple roof lines and different dormers and things like that to try to create different elevations inside that building. One of the things, and I didn't really hit on it, let me go back here, is second floor, second floor, second floor.
Oh, see that? He's fighting over here.
All right, so this is the second floor. Let me just scroll it down, see if I can encapsulate some more here. All right, so what you're seeing here is the roof line of skilled nursing, because now we are 1 floor above that. So the medical model AL is over here, right? So memory care is down below. You're seeing the roof line of the connector that encapsulates the courtyard. Existing Iredell dining room and that connector. And then on the floor below this, there is actually an entrance that goes out there. So what's up here? Well, with doing this, and back to the sandwich shop question, we are duplicating some things. So the wellness center. We're not taking away the wellness center, but I need a wellness center that's accessible to 150 some AL people. So there is a fitness and aerobic center going in up on the second floor.
With a pool?
No pool. This is just an activities room to have, kind of messier activities, some activities offices. And this one does affect pretty much everyone in here. The beauty shop that's down in the wellness center is going to move. So we are purposely moving it to this second floor and purposely building it to be a beauty shop, right? So in here is, and we worked with the beauticians on the layout. The massage therapist has her own room. They have their dispensary that they have to have. They have all their hair cutting stations, and it's right next to the bathing spa. So the bathing spa is not like when you go to a spa and get your hair done. It is when you have an assisted living, most places have a jetted whirlpool tub. That's what that is. So I know some ladies looked at it and were like, oh, it's a whole spa. No, it's not the same. It's just a jetted tub that for like the AL people to use. But the beauty shop's going up that second floor. There will be a separate wellness center, and we know Matthew will have to come up with a whole new setup of structure where he has exercise and whatnot on the wellness center over here, and then he'll have to have structured programs in that up there. We may have to look to add some assistance or something depending on how it goes. But we are duplicating those areas just like we're duplicating the sandwich shop and cafe.
Can we have magazines in the beauty shop?
Potentially. Are they banned right now?
Currently, and I understand moving of the assisted living, skilled nursing, they have their rehab room where we go. Will that be additional?
So she asked, currently if you go up to Wrigley and you need therapy, there is a therapy gym. So let me show you, because I do have that.
Oh, good.
So you can. This is a kind of the first floor. So this is the main entrance. This is a big covered porch. So by regulation, there's a firewall right here because this building is licensed as skilled nursing. It cannot be built out of combustible material because it's more than one story. So from here over is built block, right? From here over is built out of wood because AL is not held to the same licensure. So kind of block right here. But we're also regulated to have an exit dedicated to that unit. So we had to kind of put in a little vestibule and entrance here. Even though most traffic, 99% of it is going to go through the store, turn, and come into the dining area. This big old white block right here is the therapy gym. So we're advancing a lot of things even in the therapy gym. So a few things, if you've been in rehab, you've seen us push things like Hoyers and stand lifts. Well, those are all going away. We're putting in ceiling mounted lifts where it's on for the engineers in this room, a gantry crane that's actually mounted in the ceiling, and you pull it around. We just wheel the little lifting block, we go in the room, you attach it, and away you go. No more having to charge all these things and haul these big machines around and the constant maintenance that happens with Hoyers and stand lifts. So those are going in the rooms as well. But in the therapy gym, there's actually an XY gantry, so it actually is kind of free motion. You can kind of walk in circles and do whatever because it moves back and forth and left and right. So that's going to be in the therapy gym because that will help with aiding therapists treat residents for things like getting into the parallel bars, things like that. So right now, if you can't bear your weight completely, it's very difficult. With this, we're able to kind of offload and kind of help assist people who can't fully bear weight to utilize things like the parallel bars and go through physical therapy. So again, there's a lot of thought that has been put into it. These two little rooms down here, speech therapy office is right there, but these two rooms right here are what we call PT cabanas. So in physical therapy, occupational therapy, we use mat tables. Mat tables are exactly what they sound like. Mats on top of a table that you lay on, and then we do different types of modalities and movements, sit to stand, whatnot. But you want a lot of privacy with those. So we're actually, currently our mat table's in a room by itself, so we have to kick everybody out. But those are two cabanas where they can go in, pull the curtain, and then they have full privacy for the treatment. So this is all the rehab area. So there's 18 rooms down here, 18 rooms up there. The therapy gym's here, a couple of conference rooms, and then the dining area kind of set out here.
Question. When you're looking at your $67 million that you're committing, have you looked at the power requirements on the boiler house and the power?
Oh, yeah.
Add to that?
Yeah, so he asked, when we're looking at this building, are we looking at the power requirements? So So he said about like the boiler house. We're not adding this to the boilers. We're actually reducing draw on the boilers because the goal is to get away from having the powerhouse, right? That's an antiquated system. If you go to Rickley right now, it's pretty warm because it's cold outside. Come to me when it's 58 degrees and see what it's like in that building. It's 100 degrees because heat is on or heat is off in that system. It's not great. This building is going to be all air handlers, different things like that. And in the units are individual, what they call VTAC units. So heat pumps, well, basically, in each individual room so they can control the temperature. So we're not putting any draw on the powerhouse. We're actually lessening the draw because we're not going to be using it in the other buildings. From a power standpoint, we do actually have to pull a whole new service from Ohio Edison is what it seems like in order to feed that building. And that's mostly because right now the power comes in like Route 4 is up here and then it goes all the way over there to the powerhouse. So we'd have to bring it all the way back. So it may be easier just to go right there. And so that's kind of what's being worked on now with the engineers and the Ohio Edison department. But from the standpoint of if you're thinking about like the carbon footprint and whatnot, everything in there is LED. Everything in there is some sort of energy conservation. It's going to have a heat wheel. So as we pull air out of the building, it'll spin a wheel, which kind of helps recollect kind of heat. It kind of helps save on energy. So the building, it's not a green building. I want to make that clear, but it is an energy saving model all through HVAC, power consumption, and everything like that.
Okay, can we go back to the main building, the four floors? Now, you said that pathway people will be in that on the first floor?
On the first floor.
Okay, and how many will it house?
24.
And we're
Currently at 30.
From 30?
Yep.
Like, we got baby boomers coming. We don't have enough room. We don't have enough room for people that need pathways.
Well, we are very limited on space. And memory care is also one of the most expensive product lines to have because of the way you staff it, the way you have to, kind of do it. Like it's its own entity. Well, actually, I can't show you.
Well, weren't there some memory care people in Upper Rickley?
Oh, there's memory care people
So
everywhere.
Can you still have that?
Yeah.
In the new place?
So this is actually the memory care unit, and it's going to be hard, but so this is the connector. You can see you come up the connector. Here's the elevator. This is the memory care lobby. So everything that's over here is completely, I don't want to use the term isolated, but it is separated from the rest of the building, obviously because it's secure. So you kind of come in here, and it's kind of built like a front porch to a house, where you go into their home. It has its own kitchen and kind of servery area. Excuse me. The dining area is here. There's some activity spaces, and then OMC has a product line called Connecting Realities. So Connecting Realities is our memory care programming that we utilize at Western Reserve and we utilize at Browning. It is not fully launched here at our Pathways because, well, it's a different level of care, and it's not designed for skilled nursing. It's truly designed for AL. But there are purpose-built parts of the building. So when you look at the connector, you'll see a little bump out here because that is the gardening activity spot. There's the exercise spots over here, the Lucent table. So we have a thing called the Lucent table that was donated. There's a dedicated Lucent table area. There's a dedicated theater area. Somewhere on here is the tool room. I can't remember where everything is. But there's all these different, sensory room right here. There's all these different stations that are built for what you call meeting in the moment. So when somebody's having, maybe a bad day or they're in, some sort of crisis, there's different activity spaces that you can take them to engage them on things that they're more familiar with. So that programming is going to be built into the physical plant of this building, much like it is at the other two campuses.
What's happening to York Wright then?
York Wright 3 and 4 will be closed down. Eventually, we will white box them, which means we'll go up there and we'll take everything out, and then we'll just put drywall up and we'll white box them until they come up with future plans. Kind of the same thing with Pathways. We'll empty that out, and then it'll kind of go the same way. Rickley, we probably won't white box just simply because we would spend millions of dollars white boxing Rickley. It's just massive. It's just too big. So we'll move out of Rickley, then we'll have to go in, shut down utility, things like that, and just kind of sit on it for a while.
How does that affect the auditorium then?
Shouldn't affect the auditorium at all. The auditorium will still be open and functioning. Probably won't be able to get to the balcony, but the auditorium itself will be open. All right.
This 8 or 9 month elevator sounds like you're gonna have to multiply a lot of months to get this done.
Well, this building is projected to be somewhere between 24 and 28 months. It's a long project, but it's big.
Question. I did not understand. What happens to Cunningham?
Nothing. Cunningham gets a taller connector between it and the new building. That's the only thing that changes. Well, that and there's some mechanical rooms over there that will consume to make that connection happen, but that won't change anything to the residents because it's all back of the house, things that we have to just kind of relocate. All right, Sandy, I was told you want to say a few words?
Yes. You're an awful hard act to follow. I just want to say, these two guys have got to have their heads spinning, and you couldn't pay me enough to do your job. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
I don't know how many in here don't or have not heard about Sprig. Could you raise your hand if you don't know what Sprig is? Oh, I'm going to hit you with this.
You won't be the first.
A short synopsis is Sprig is an organization, a committee put together to raise, as a fundraiser, a mini fundraiser to money that goes right back into our foundation to help pay for some of this. But I won't even begin to dot it. I'm the chairman of Sprig. I've now gotten the total of what our events from this year have allowed us to write a check for. I first of all have to say, I wasn't sure that I was going to even be able to do Festival of Wreaths this year, because in July I had a little bit of a problem. And so, by the grace of God, by the grace of a fantastic surgeon and this community that has helped me put this together, I can't even say thank you enough. I can't. No matter how I try, you won't even know how appreciative I am of everybody that lives here and everybody that has supported it. I learned a couple days ago that we're going to be able, last year we wrote a check for a little over $9,000, and this year our check is $11,000. So in 2 years we've raised $20,000, which I think is phenomenal, and I could never have done it without everybody here. And we have the best place to live right here, and it's going to get better apparently. So that's all I have to say.
All right, Mr. Chairman, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah. I have just a couple thoughts. Number one, it's going to get pretty frustrating for a lot of residents in the year few years ahead. But keep in mind, number one, that with all the planning and discussion that's been done so far, in the Masonic way, God's hand has been involved all along and will continue to be. Number two, in the long history of Springfield community, we have never had a CEO that has much of any construction background. We are very fortunate. You may not know this. Tony came from the construction industry to healthcare. He's got a very strong background in construction, and it's been wonderful. And we are so blessed to have him, as you can see with what's going to happen in the future. Now, I would ask just one thing, that you be patient, knowing that God's hand's involved and that it's going to be better once it's all said and done. But understand one thing, David's okay, he's got a pretty good head. Tony cannot pull any more hair out of the top of his head. So please be patient, be kind, know that it's going to be great when it's all said and done.
Thank you, Stan. Now, I will say, I've been blessed to come from a company where the campus I was at actually was a fledgling. We started with a field and built buildings as we went. So that was an experience, but then as part of that, once we built what we thought we needed, we realized that we were doing way better than we ever anticipated. And I got to go through a project where we renovated and added on during that tenure too. So I have good experience in how kind of all this works. And I think less the construction side, but more the experience of how to interact with the residents, how is this going to affect, because construction guys come in and they think about one thing: where do I put my bulldozer, where do I put my material, how do I make it through? They don't always think about how does that affect this person right here, how does that affect this person right here, and how does this all come together. So the other side of that is, we just did a big old project up at WRMC, if you didn't know. So the company that we have, the people at the company now, have been through this too, and they've learned a lot, and they have a lot of things that we started with. There was 2 pages of things we were not going to repeat, right? From one project to the next. We're only talking a couple years, and they already knew these are things that we're going to change. These are things that we're going to, take a look at. Our whole leadership team has been a part of designing these spaces. So when we're talking about room setup and how everything's done, from the DON to the ADONs to our chief clinical officer to our regional clinical officer, to all those people, we're all involved in that. Housekeeping, laundry, maintenance, every one of us are at the table because everybody looks at it differently. And it's that multidisciplinary viewpoint that you come up with the best ideas. Is it going to be perfect? Hell no, it ain't going to be perfect. I'm going to tell you right now, there's probably 100 things on there I'm going to regret when they're in person. I already know that. I've been doing this long enough to know that's how it's going to be. But we have a tremendous amount of experience and a tremendous amount of professionalism that's going into those designs. And it is as much catered to the resident as you can possibly make it. From how the rooms are laid out, to the finishes that we're picking, to every part of it, it's all geared towards the resident experience and making life easier. From the stand lifts, to the beds, to every part of it starts with how do we make the best possible care area for the residents. When we look at how the rooms are designed and layout, it's about how comfortable is the resident going to be, but also can the staff care for them in the best way. Because I don't want to have to come in, because I have rooms now where when I go in to move somebody, I got to move the bed. That's not good for the staff and it ain't good for the resident. But I don't have enough room to get around both sides. So all those things are taken into consideration. In the rehab and long-term care, there are 4 bariatric rooms being built. So what's the difference between a bariatric room and a regular room? Remember that lift system I told you about? In the bariatric rooms, they're going to have an X-wide gantry, and it's going to span the whole room. The bathroom has what's called California walls. So those California walls, the exterior walls will go all the way up, And the California walls are only going to, well, I can't reach quite as high, but they're going to go like
Dave
you.
can do it.
And the door doesn't have a header. So why is it designed that way? Because the lift will get them out of bed, and you can take them right into the bathroom, you can get them into the shower, you can get them into the toilet. I don't have to do those transfers, I don't have to do all that. So that's the advantage in those rooms. They're purpose-built showers, purpose-built toilets, so it's you know, it's just, again, designing for the need, right? We know what we run into from time to time. We know where the issues are and our pinch points, so it's designing for those needs and making sure it's incorporated. So again, a lot of effort, a lot of thought, and a lot of experience goes into this. And we have a great set of architects. We have a great developer in John Merkins. This is literally what he does for a living. And so we are terribly excited to be able to be honored with having that headache for the next 2.5 years.
You accept donations, right?
And we are accepting donations. That is for sure.
What's happening to the decorating here?
Okay, good question. She asked what's happening here. So right now, last week, we got the quote on flooring. We're waiting on the quote for the minor construction stuff that's going to happen up there, and then the refinishing of the walls. We got 2 quotes in for furniture. You know, our goal was to try to have the tables and chairs ordered by the end of 2024. We kicked both of those quotes kind of to the curb because they came in way higher than anticipated. So they went back, and now the one actually is way more in line. So we kind of getting all those things together from a cost standpoint. You know, it's one of those things, we come up with the designs and then you sit and wait for people to price them. But the flooring guy got us quotes, I think it was Friday. The painter and the wall finishings and that we're still waiting on. Like I said, that minor construction's actually the same guy. And then the furniture and that, hopefully will be ordered here in the next month, since we just got that quote back right before New Year's Eve. So.
Okay.
I know you're limited on parking areas, but when you redo all the parking lots, is there any chance you can make the parking areas about a foot wider?
You mean each particular space?
Space.
I'll bring it up.
Okay, let's stop that.
I'll bring it up. Really, it's the painter who has to do it, right? The asphalt guy's going to lay asphalt. It's the painter who dictates the size.
Somebody's got to tell him how wide
Yeah,
the parking.
I'll bring that up on Tuesday, that we need wider resident parking.
I've seen Leon drive.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Dave said he's seen you drive. He's not sure we can make them wide enough.
What color is your car?
So, white.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I am so sorry. There's actually an announcement I need to make. Well, I know we're expecting snow tonight. I want you to understand that we do have a handicap. Our handicap is that our main plow truck broke. The actual mount for the plow snapped when we were plowing the other day. And it snapped not because they hit something, it snapped because, well, it's covered in salt and it's rusted. So it is at K.E. Rose in Huber now. They were able to make some repairs to the hopper for the salt. We had a leak in it. It wasn't stopping it from doing its job, it just was making a mess in the salt. So they were able to get those repairs done, but the plow needs parts that have to be ordered. So we're looking to try to contract someone to come in and help us, because that is the majority of the snow mover for the big areas. K.E. Rose, Chris from there actually is a past master of my lodge. He's very endeared to the Masonic home. So he's busting his butt to get it back so at least we can use it for salt spreading. So we are trying to get some contractors to come out who can at least push snow. So I'm just telling you right now, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, you have a snow blower, right?
I do not have a snow blower. I have a shovel.
You can buy one.
Funny story,
shovel.
I broke my shovel last year and forgot. And then Sunday I was like, oh man, I don't have a shovel. And I had to go buy a shovel and found it. Well, pretty much. Ace Hardware in New Carlisle is the only place in a Tri-County area with a shovel. Nobody else had one.
3 times the cost.
It was crazy. But so just bear with us if there's, I don't know how much snow we're gonna get, but I know we're supposed to get some snow tonight. We are a little handicapped with the snow removal. David, that's why David was here earlier. I know he found one gentleman, but it's a pickup truck and a plow. We're not finding any contractors yet because most contractors, like landscapers, you know, they just take their big trucks that they haul dirt with, they equip them for snow, and then they plow snow. But they usually have major contracts. So our landscaper doesn't have the room in the schedule. So we're kind of looking for some people.
Don't we have any Masonic brothers
Trying.
that could volunteer to do something like that?
We're trying. Yeah, we're trying. We even talked about finding anybody with like a skid steer, you know, with a bucket or something like that that could come help do parking lots and that. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. You know, it went down the other day, and we really thought it was going to be able to just be welded, and it's just not. There's just not enough material there to make a weld that's going to be functional. So we have to replace it. But they're getting the salt spreader done, so we can at least use it for that. We just can't push snow with it right now.
Okay.
So basically, I have the pickup truck and a couple of tractors. That's what we got right now.
I just wondered about a lot of the sidewalks that haven't been cleaned off from the first snow. How do they normally clean those off with a blower or?
Well, that was a good topic of discussion yesterday because Dave and I were down in the villas and we made some observations. But yes, we do have snow blowers that we can use to go out and hit the sidewalks. So hopefully we'll see that here soon. They have not been hit yet.
Pushed all the snow over.
Yeah.
They push all our snow over our sidewalk. They'll have to go through like this to get that off the sidewalk.
Well, hopefully they were out there today hitting some of those. Oh yeah. Okay, and we do have a pineapple. This month's recipient is Bessie Gilly.
Ooh.
Pineapple.
All right, Stan, can you send us on our way?
I was just thinking that as bad as things may seem at times, remember one thing, we could be living in California.
No.
Let us pray. Dear God, architect of the universe, we continue to thank you for your blessing that you've given us and the grace that controls our actions. We ask that you keep a watch over all those in California with such a terrible situation. And we ask that you be with us as we start our exciting adventure of changes here at our facility. We thank you for the many blessings you've given us. We ask your continued guidance and direction, and at last save us through Christ.